then what's tangent? Good. Okay. Let's look at our little triangle here. Do you guys see how the sides are labeled? They're the little letters. Okay. Do you notice how little a is opposite of angle A? You can always label them like that. So what is the sine of angle A? A over C. Good. What's the cosine of A? And what is the tangent of A? All right, then we're switching to angle B, so we're now looking up here. So what's the sine of angle B? The cosine, A over C, and what's the tangent? All right, do you like Unit 5 so far?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay. All right, you guys are going to need a calculator for this part. Does anybody need to borrow one? All right. We just add it to the stack there.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, guys, so let's figure out x first. How many degrees are in a triangle?
90.
180. All right. The other two have to add 9. All right. So what is x in our first triangle? This is literally geometry. 56.
Is this being recorded?
Yeah, it is being recorded. I won't say who said 90. I don't have all classes graded yet, so 99. Nope. On the quarter test. All right, guys, we still have to find A and C. So let's look at finding C first. Do you guys see how I know this 8? Okay. Let's think about it. If I set up the cosine of 34, what would that equal? Hello. Cosine of 34, what would that be? 8 over C, right? Okay. How do you solve for C? Okay, so to get it by itself, I would have to multiply both sides times C. So I now have C times the cosine of 34 equals 8. And then how would I get C alone? Divide by cosine 34. All right. So what mode do you guys think you should be in on your calculator? Degree, good. So do that. Do 8 divided by cosine 34. Let's round to the nearest tenth for right now. Are you getting 9.6? Yes? Okay. All right, we still need to find A. Some of you will think to switch to the Pythagorean theorem. If you're going to do that, you have to store the value that you just got, because otherwise you're using a rounded answer and you're going to end up off in the end. So I think the easier, safer thing is to use tangent. And we know this is 56, so You can pick either one. I'm going to do 34 because it'll be easier. Tangent of 34, what would that equal? What over what? A over 8. So how do you get the A by itself? Multiply by 8. So 8 times tangent of 34. And are you getting 5.4? Questions on number 1? Okay. I want you guys to try number 2. Guys, we're going to finish course recommendations today, too. Okay. I know I've talked to some of you, but not everybody yet. Go ahead and check up here when you're done with 2. time on number 2? Anybody have questions on number 2? Yes. Okay. I'm assuming you got X, right? Okay. So I set up, I picked the 50-degree angle and I did the sine. So what would the sine of 50 equal? What would it, okay, are you in degrees? Okay, that's gonna mess you up, because that is 50 degrees. You're good now? Same? Okay, yes. Easy once you're in the right mode, not so easy when you're not. Because 50 radians is very different than 50 degrees, so. All right, let's try again on number 3, okay? So you guys try 3 again for me. If you have questions at any point, raise your hand, let me know. Mm-hmm. Do any of the angles say 30 or 60? Okay, so 30 and 60. Okay, there are a lot of other things that add up to 180 in triangles. Like if one is 47, the other can't be 45. Like that doesn't work. Okay? Do you see what I mean? Okay. These triangles are rarely going to be drawn to scale, so you just have to trust what's written for the angles and the sides. When you're ready, guys, check to see how you did on this one. Give me like a nod or a thumbs up if we're yes. If you need more time, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. Is it better now that you're in degrees? Much better? Okay. Caesar, you got it, or are you still working? I'm still working. Okay. You guys okay over there? I know. I never know. It's okay. I didn't hear all of it this time. I usually do. All right, guys, number 4. What's different about 4?
Oh, it doesn't give you 2 angles.
Yeah, we don't know the angles, but we do know 2 of the sides. So I'm going to start by setting up tangent. Do you want to do tangent of x or tangent of y? X. No, an x first. So tangent of x. What would that equal? What ratio? 7/5. If I do x, if we did y, it would be 5%. Okay, Do you guys remember what you use on your calculator if you want to solve for the angle? Inverse, yes. So you are going to key in inverse tangent of 7 over 5. And let's just round to the nearest degree for our angles. So are you getting 54 degrees? Okay, are we taking the tangent of an angle or are we solving for the angle? Anytime you're solving for the angle, that's what inverse means. So on your calculator, you're keying in inverse tangent 7 over 5. All right, guys, I want you to practice storing this value in your calculator. It's going to matter the further we get into this unit. And those of you moving on to calculus, it's really important. So if you erased it, go back and key in inverse tangent 7 over 5, and then push enter and stop. I'll lead you through what you need to do next. So you should have 54.46232221 showing up on your screen right now. Okay. What you're going to do is hit the store key. It's right on the bottom left here, STO with an arrow. Hit store, and then this was our X value, right? So I'm going to store it as X. So you can either hit the little X key right next to the green alpha key, or you can do alpha and find the key that's actually X. Then push enter. So it has now saved the exact value of that angle. So if you want to use that angle again to solve something else, you have exactly what that angle is, okay? And we will use it again here. We can find y pretty easily. You already have x in there. How many degrees should there be in a triangle? So you can just do either 90 minus your x or 180 minus 90 minus your x. And get there. And guys, rounded to the nearest degree, which you could have figured out without doing this. Did you get 36 degrees? Yes, okay. All right, so now we need to find c. We already stored the value of x, so I want to keep going with the x. So would you agree sine of x is 7 over c? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, now remind yourself, what variable are we solving for here? C. How would I solve for c? Multiply by c. All right, and then divide, right? So c is really going to equal 7 divided by sine of x. So on your calculator, I want you to do 7 divided by, and then the sine of x, because we stored that value in x. And let's see if you get 8.6. Yes. You absolutely could, since you know those two legs, definitely. We'll just start the storing practice, though, just in case. Questions on that one? Is everybody okay with the storing part? We'll practice that a lot more. It'll become automatic for you. All right, I want you to try 5 and 6. start writing these up here. When you're ready, go ahead and check. If you're missing any of these, raise your hand, let me know. I will gladly help you. All right, guys, anybody still working on 5 and 6? You got them? How are we doing? 5-1, good so far? Review of geometry? All right, guys, questions on anything before we move on? Okay, go ahead and turn the page. All right, so we are talking about angles of elevation and depression. So first, let me make a little picture for you. Okay, there you are. You have a neck, I promise. Let's say here is some sort of cliff, and your friend is up there. When you look up to that person, that creates the angle of elevation. Okay, makes sense. Looks up, you get an angle of elevation. Okay, the part people mess up is the angle of depression. It is not inside this triangle that has been formed. It is congruent to your angle of elevation. You guys remember in geometry, like if you have parallel lines, alternate interior angles are congruent, vaguely somewhere in your brain. That right there, that is the angle of depression. They are always congruent. So if I give you an angle of depression problem and you're forgetting which angle it is, put it in the angle of elevation spot and you'll be fine. Like it'll be accurate, okay, for the word problems that we're doing when you set them up. They're always congruent, okay, this guy and this guy. All right, so let's do a couple of these word problems together. In these word problems, you absolutely will draw pictures. I like it when you draw entertaining pictures. I will give you a little extra time on your quiz and possibly on your test so that you can draw me entertaining pictures worth a bonus point or two. So you don't have to be good at drawing for them to be entertaining either. That's it's very true. All right, so let's look at the first one. So we have a ladder leaning against a wall. So here's our building. And then here's our ladder. Okay. Not yet. You need to like decorate your building a little. Put a person on here. Draw some flowers in the window, something, I don't know. Just, you're supposed to have fun with it. Alright, so it's a 20-foot ladder, so I know that's 20. And the base of the ladder is 8 feet from the base of the building. So guys, where does the 8 go? Bottom. So like down here, that's where the 8 is. Do you guys see the right triangle that we're looking at here is right there? Alright. I am asking you, what angle does the ladder make with the ground? Well, what angle am I talking about? Yeah, like what would be the angle of elevation down here? So I'm going to put a little X in there. That is what we are looking at. So my equation that I would set up. With respect to where the X is, do you guys see how I have the adjacent side and I have the hypotenuse? So sine, cosine, or tangent, which one uses adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So that means cosine of X equals 8 over 20. So how do I actually find X? Inverse cosine. And if you look in your direction, the sides were rounding to the nearest tenth, but angles were rounding to nearest degree still. So inverse cosine, 8 over 20. Again, make sure you're still in degrees. And what you get? 6. Okay. Was that terrible of a word problem? You survived. All right, we're going to jump around a little here. Let's go down to number 9. All right, so we have a tree. And then it says a point on the ground 50 feet from the tree. The angle of elevation to the top of the tree is 53 degrees. And we are 50 feet away here. So again, do you see that right triangle? And what am I actually trying to find in this one? Height of the tree. So the X is going to go on this side. So what do you think? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Tangent, yes. So tangent of 53 equals X over 50. This is a side length, so let's round to the nearest tenth. And make sure you label. So this one's in feet. How are we doing so far with this? Good? Okay. What I'm going to have you do right now, this will kind of be your classwork today, finish this page, these word problems. We'll go over them together again here soon. While you guys are working on that, I'm going to start calling you out for course recommendations. I know I've already talked to some of you, but yes, sure. And just so you guys know, we do have a quiz next time on just 5.1, but it's this. So I'm hoping that's a pretty happy start to the third quarter for you guys.